Welcome back, everyone. It's your boy, Jacob Jordan, and today we're going to be making a Premier League predictions table. Premier League predictions table. I probably might make one of these for La Liga. I might just make it based on the top 10 because let's be honest, I don't watch La Liga like that. This is my bread and butter right here, the Prem. But other than that, before we get into the video, make sure you guys smash up the likes, people. Make sure you guys also subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. And the goal for this video is 100 likes to match those 100 subscribers. Today, I'm just going to be giving my rankings and a short little explanation as why I put the team where I put the team. Let's get into it. Now, if you guys want to do this yourself, you can also, there's a chance if you predict the table to the T, that you can win a signed shirt from the player of your choice. So if you guys want a chance to win a signed shirt from a player of your choice, all you have to do is predict the league table perfectly, and you have the chance to do that. It's on the Premier League official site. All you have to do is put Premier League table predictor, and it should be the first link. All right. Yeah, let's get into this. Starting first, we're going to be starting with the 20th team that I believe is going to come last and most likely get relegated. And I believe that team is none other than Burnley. Yes, Burnley. Now, I know Burnley has made some signings like a Leslie Ugochukwu and a Armando Broa and a couple other signings, but I still don't think that's enough. The Prem is a whole different type of beast. Some of these teams have been literally building their squad for 5+ years and they haven't won anything. So that just shows you how much of a beast the Prem is. And I do believe, even though they made some investments into their squad, it's not going to be enough to stay up in this league. Secondly, I have Sunderland. Sunderland, they did even more investing, and I have Sunderland here. So that just shows you why I believe Burnley is a lock to go down. Sunderland has literally invested over £100 million to try and stay up in the Prem this season, with getting talents like Habib Diarra, Granit Xhaka, two very experienced players. But yeah, it's looking like it could be a struggle for them to even stay in the Premier League this season. At next 18th, I'm not even gonna move Wolves. I'm gonna leave Wolves right there in the relegation zone. You guys just lost Cunha. You guys just lost Nori. Pray, pray. Pray that your ownership finds some money to go and reinvest and at least try and get some young talents in. But we're gonna see. At 17th, I have Leeds United. Woo! 17th, I have Leeds United. Leeds United is a strong championship team side. In fact, their attack is so strong they scored 95 goals last season. The big 9-5. That just shows you how serious they are. But do I see Leeds staying up? Let's be honest. We don't see. Well, we see them staying up. But do I see them surviving? Yes. Do I see them thriving? No. No, I don't see Leeds thriving. I see them barely surviving relegation by the skin of their teeth. To be honest, you could argue that Wolves is a lot more suited to stay up in the Prem because the majority of their squad has been staying up in the Prem. So you could probably ask the guys to raise their levels, but we're gonna see. I do think that Leeds, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Fulham, those three teams are interchangeable. It all depends on how good the health of the squads look for the season, on if whichever team drops into relegation. Now, After hearing what I just said, you could probably guess the next team that I'm going to have here is Fulham at 16. Yes. Putting Fulham at 16, they lacked a lot of ambition in the transfer market. No type of ambition, no type of even looking to get players that could raise their levels, undervalued players that could raise their level. I don't know what Fulham is doing. Yeah, they're not gonna move up in they're gonna stay like a mid-table team this season. Yeah, nothing much to say about Fulham. We move on to Brentford. The Bumblebees. I have Brentford dropping down to 15th. Brentford was over the last couple of years was a side you did not want to face. Thomas Frank made this team such an annoying team to face. Their defensive record was pretty good, as well as their offensive record was firing above. Their offensive record was firing above what was expected of it. When you have people like Brian and Bremo having breakout seasons, scoring 20 plus goals in the Prem, that just shows you the quality that is Thomas Frank and his ability to build a system where the player profiles around him, even working under a budget that is not really viable to do much with, he can still get the most out of his players. And this is why I am low-key annoyed that he went to Spurs. Because it's kind of like Pochettino, that Pochettino vibe, where Poch could get like the most out of the players' potential. That's what I'm getting from Thomas Frank. But I think he's a much better manager than Pochettino. So I got value. We're gonna see how this looks. At 14th, we're not gonna move West Ham anywhere. We're gonna leave West Ham right there. And I have them coming 14th. They lost Mohamed Kudus. Minus 16 goal differential last season exposed a lot of their weaknesses. And I don't really have a lot of trust in Graham Potter to get the players to start performing above their regular average level. I don't think he's a manager that can do such, but it's up to him to prove me wrong. We are in a World Cup season, people. You know, we are in a World Cup season, people. A lot of people are going to be trying to show their best. Everton at 13. Yes, we're going to Everton right now, and we're going to drop them down to 13th. They are trying to get Jack Grealish. They are trying to improve their squad at least a little bit. They were attempts of getting, I believe, Tyler Little. They got Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, Everton want to stay up in the Premier League, and you can tell they kind of want to start pushing to be a top 10 side again. With those two improvements, I believe it's possible. David Moyes is a really good manager. We're going to see what happens. He's one of those managers that can get the team performing above the level their level. So we're going to see what happens with David Moyes. I have my eyes on Everton, up the Blue Mafia, up the Blue Cartel. Y'all know how we get about the Blue Cartel over here. Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace, even though they did get Wissa and Sar, if I'm not mistaken, did they get Wissa and Sar? But the thing with Crystal Palace is they could be looking to let Mark Guehi go and Eze go. Arsenal is have been looking at Eze for a while now, and they're looking like they want to go get him to really strengthen that left hand side, which is scary. Y'all know how I feel about Eze, baller. And Liverpool are looking at Mark Guehi as the potential Van Dijk replacement. Another baller, another high level player who should be at a big club. So I expect both of those players to get a big club move this season. And for that reason, I do believe that Crystal Palace will be losing more than they added to the team, which is why we may see a drop. Or, see them finish 12th. Now, for 11, this shouldn't shock many people, but expect to see a drop off from Bournemouth. Expect to see a drop off from Bournemouth. They had one of the best defenses in the league last season. I mean, if you just look at how all of the European big clubs have literally just dismantled their defensive line, it just shows you how elite their defense was, to be honest. Hutchinson playing for the biggest club in the world at Madrid. Kirkes playing for the biggest club in England at Pool. Even though it hurts me to say that as a Chelsea fan. Semenyo is probably the only thing that's keeping them competitive right now. But I do believe that Bournemouth is going to hover around mid-table. Yeah, unless they do, but they did get a good amount of money for those players. So let's see what if they're just going to reinvest before the transfer market is over. But as of now, this is where I have Bournemouth. Now at 10th, we're gonna have our seagull friends from the beach. No, yes, at 10th, I have Brighton. At 10th, I have Brighton Hove Albion. They spent £250 million in last year's summer, and they did not rise to the level where they were supposed to be at. So for some strange reason, I guess the signings really just needed time to climatize. But losing João Pedro, and they could be potentially as well losing Baleba, two very strong points in the attack as well as the defense for your midfield. So I think with those two main players out, if Brighton doesn't look to get their replacements in ASAP, and even if they do get their replacements in ASAP, it's probably going to be from a weaker league because we know Brighton are really good at buying undervalued prospects in from weaker leagues and developing them. And I do believe the climatization is what's going to hurt Brighton's push to get back around that top five, top six European competition level. Not for too long though, because this is Brighton. I do believe they're gonna get back to like top five in a year, unless they go get another $100 million prospect, and then boom, the big clubs coming again, like the Sharks they are. Like, yeah, it kind of sucks for Brighton because let's be honest, if Brighton was able to like, I don't know, put in some type of contract where they could hold down their players for like 7 years, 8 years, we could be looking at a very strong side. But yeah, they're a selling club for now. Nottingham Forest at ninth. I'm not even gonna move this. I have Nottingham Forest at ninth. They just lost out on Anthony Alanga. Morgan Gibbs White was also looking to leave, but Milanikis was not playing none of them funny business games. He definitely took out the Brock back shotty and put it to Morgan Gibbs White's chest and told him he was staying at Nottingham Forest because I looked at that video and we could tell Gibbs White was terrified. Like he just seen the maddest shotgun get pulled out in the back rooms. Like it, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's not going anywhere. But Nottingham Forest, I don't think you guys are going anywhere up the table as well. The Big Six have really strengthened this season, and they're looking to get back into Europe. Now, I'm gonna leave Newcastle right here. Shocking, I know. Why are you putting Newcastle there? Why? Because I believe in Thomas Frank. I'm a believer. I believe in Thomas Frank. I think I've always thought Thomas Frank was a really good manager. And the sad thing for Eddie Howe that he has to deal with now is his club just doesn't want to splash the money. They don't want to splash the money. And I know what people could be saying, what do you mean splash the money? You guys don't want to overpay. That's what I want. That's what I mean. And here's the thing. Newcastle is at a crossroads right now, right? It's either you go the overpaying route, like a City, like a Chelsea, or you could go this, or we're only paying players the price that they should be paid. We're the Newcastle route. You could do that, but that's also what Brighton does. And eventually, Brighton just ended up becoming a selling club. And they have to wait. And it looks like right now they're just waiting for that one player that just says, you know what, I want Brighton. I'm gonna stay at Brighton. Unless you could start overpaying. And unlike Brighton, Newcastle has the money to overpay. This is why I keep getting on Newcastle's backside, because you guys have the money to overpay to make that big club move, like what City, like what Chelsea did, and to just get the players in. You overpay for that first batch of players until the trophies do the talking for you. That's just all I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to keep overpaying for the next 5, 10, for the well, maybe the next 5 years, but you don't have to keep overpaying for the next 10 to 15 years. No, you overpay for, yes, for the next 5 years. You overpay. You hold, but obviously, you don't get yourself banned from any European competitions. Breaking any FPP laws. You look at the loopholes. You abuse the loopholes, and you just overpay. You do what it is. What it is. It is what it is, because look, we've been seeing every single player reject your club. You got to give them some type of incentive to go there now. Especially if you're looking at the bigger players that can help raise the level. You have to start giving incentives to go to Newcastle, because no one wants to go to Newcastle. Let's be honest now. We got to start being real with ourselves, Newcastle fans. You know? So that's all. I think that's the only thing that's holding back Newcastle from being a big, consistently big four club. Overpay, get the stars in the door, or the level raisers in the door that can have Isak look and be like, okay, this club is serious about winning stuff, and they want to keep winning. If you can't do that, then it's just gonna what's happening with Isak right now is gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep happening. Let's Anthony Alanga could probably go turn into one of the best wingers in the league, but I promise you, if a Barcelona comes in next season, or a City comes in, or a Spurs comes in, he's going. He's twerking and he's gone. So yeah, this is gonna be the same thing unless you guys can change that. Now, Spurs, Man United, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea. We are now at the big seven. Who am I calling? Who am I kidding? There ain't no big seven, blood. There ain't no big seven, blood. Aston Villa, sorry. Sorry. But yeah, you guys are gonna drop down here. As much as I rate this Aston Villa team, Ollie Watkins, Morgan Gibbs, Morgan Rogers, who they had Rashford as well. Yeah, Spurs is back, man. Spurs are back. They've been strengthening. They got Kudus. They're about to get Savić, and they have Solanke up top. Arguably, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think that Spurs attack, just looking at the profile of the players, it's a little bit better than the Man United attack. I know Mbuemo's gonna come with a lot of goals. Cunha could give you some GA, but it's really Sesko I'm looking at. Spurs have the better Premier League proven attack. And that's a phrase for a reason, because we don't know how Sesko is going to look. Solanke can give you a good amount of goals. We already know Kudus is going to come in and give goals, especially in this Thomas Frank system. I really rate Thomas Frank as a manager. And Savić is a baller. He is Premier League proven. He can perform. It's just, City is a different beast when it comes to their expectations. They want at every position at City one of the best players in the world. The same for Liverpool. The same for Barcelona, Real Madrid. It is what it is. Same thing for Chelsea. It is what it is. But I do think this Spurs attack now, once you could get Savić through the door, is deadlier than the United attack. And I think that, and their midfield is a lot better than Man United's midfield. So I think they could. Don't be surprised if you see Spurs finish above United this season. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Now we're getting into the top four. We're getting over the top four. And people know, everyone knows about you. United, how they got revamped. If United get Baleba, they finish above Spurs. Right? But until they get Baleba, they don't finish above Spurs. For me, this all depends on how the transfer market ends. It depends. That's all it depends on how the transfer market ends. United get Baleba, they finish top 5. Spurs get Savić, and United don't get Baleba, then Spurs finish top 5. It's that simple for me. Top four. It's gonna shock a lot of people, but I have Arsenal fourth. I have Arsenal fourth. Yes, I know they got Goikarez. Yes, I know Goikarez was the final piece, but I'm looking. I don't trust Mikel Arteta. I just do not trust him. I do not trust his decision making for simple reasons as just look at the priorities, how he's prioritizing his transfer market. He goes in and he gets back off a Saka when you could have used that same money to get Ezzy through the door and make this attack way stronger before you even touch Goikarez. Before you even touch Goikarez, you could have just gone and gotten Ezzy through the door. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. He has Zubamendi now. Once you guys get Ezzy, now how I'm looking at this, I'm looking at top four. Top four is very interchangeable, guys. Very interchangeable. But I'm going into this top four with chest, and I just believe that it's gonna finish like this. I have Arsenal fourth. I think for some reason you guys just capitulate and you finally get rid of Arteta and you bring in a serious manager that could have this team performing at the level that is expected. I don't rate Arteta. I think he's the reason you're going to finish top four, not because your squad is weak, not because your squad is shit, but because he just finds a way to mess up a lot of things. And yeah. And plus, I'm also looking at Arsenal's squad depth. It's not the best. It's not the best arguably, but you do have better. I would say you do have better squad depth than Liverpool, but it's not the best. Now, I have City and Chelsea winning the league. Why? Simply because of the depth both of these teams have. You got to remember, all of these top four teams are going to be in the Champions League this season. They're going to be playing a lot of games at high levels, and there's gonna be times where I believe Liverpool and Arsenal players are going to get burnout due to just the minutes. Because if you look at their bench, the managers can't really afford to take out their best players until they're up a significant amount. You know, they're up like a 3 or a 2. You know, they can't really afford to give Gyökeres rest. And I believe that's why we're going to see not really a drop off halfway through the season, but towards the end of the season when you need that final push, I think that's where the squad depth of City and Chelsea is going to shine this season. You know, but looking at it, now that I think about it, I'm gonna put United. I'm gonna put United. Put United. Let's check something. Wow. Yeah. But listen, getting back to this, like I said, the depth is going to be very important this season, and this is why I have Chelsea finishing. I have Chelsea also finishing above City. Now everyone's like, "Oh, bro, yes, I hear what you're talking about, but if we're talking about depth, then City's definitely the more suitable. They have the best striker in the world. Nice. Other than the best striker in the world, what else do they have? Really? I'm looking at their midfield. It's a little bit older. I think our midfield can compete with their midfield. I think our attack now can compete with City's attack. And I think their defense is weaker than our defense. Yes, I do. So yes, I have Chelsea. And plus Chelsea's squad depth is really, 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 really good. So I have Chelsea being the dark horses to win this league. Yes, people may be like, oh, you're just being biased, mate. Not really. Not really. I watch my club day in and day out. And yeah, I believe we have what it takes. And I believe you all will be seeing that we have what it takes. So don't forget to like the video. Let me know what do you think about the comments. If in the comments what you think about the list. And let's finish off this league table. Finish it off. Continue. What do you think the champions are gonna get? I think Chelsea gets 91, 90 points. Let me see. Yeah, 90 points. So let's look at the full table, you guys. This is the full table. This is my full Premier League table. Let me know what you guys think could be fixed. Let me know what you think is wrong. And don't forget, like I said, to smash up the likes. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. And don't forget to follow your boy on X and on YouTube, Jaco Jordan on YouTube, Jaco Jordan on X. Follow my second YouTube channel, Jaco Jordan. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.